got to stretch here before we begin. Welcome back, guys. This is Mike Hernandez in the garage, per usual. We got a lot of projects going on still, so what you see here on my table is what we're going to be working on, like the title says. This is the Steersmart steering upgrade that I need to do for wifey's EcoDiesel. This video is for you guys who drive Wranglers, the JKs, JLs, but even the Gladiators. If you guys saw my 30,000 mile review video that I did on the Gladiator, this was like one of the top 3, top 5 upgrades that I felt are a necessity. One of the things that happens with Wranglers, because they are a straight axle suspension as opposed to independent, is once you start messing with geometry and adding the bigger tires to them, you potentially could run into a couple of issues. I know that even some of the Jeeps from the factory have a little bit of bump steer and even some funky characteristics just coming out. It's kind of inherent, you guys, with the fact that this is one of the only platforms in the segment that runs a straight axle suspension, okay? For example, my Gladiator out the door was already kind of wobbly. This one was not at all when we first bought it, but as soon as the 37s went on and the 2.5-inch Evo manufacturing suspension went on, it started getting some bump steer. So what is bump steer? So when you're driving along, you'll notice that maybe you hit a pothole, or there's just a little imperfection in the street, or maybe it is a big, pothole or something. And when you hit it, the vehicle will list, right? Or left, depending on, whatever direction it was going in. And that's called bump steer. You should be able to hit, within reason, potholes and just continue on, or, a change in the road and just go on, and not have any of those issues. Like I said, there's actually a really great video on the Gladiator review that I did of an issue when I was on the road on the highway at highway speeds and being next to a truck, and it did that, and it kind of listed sideways, okay? One thing to note, there is something unconfirmed that somebody just messaged me on, so I still have to see if it's actually true. And the guy said, hey, just so you're aware, the steering box has been strengthened for the EcoDiesels. You shouldn't have any issues. I would say, if that's true, I do not see anything different now that I have already modified and changed, some of the geometry pieces. So if that's the case, I still recommend this. I mean, it will give you the added benefit of chromoly material. The steel that they use with this is a huge upgrade. You can see the diameter of these things in comparison to the factory stuff. I mean, it's just a good idea anyways, because like I said, straight axles inherently have some issues with them. So as you see it here, I'll start from my left. This is actually the Steersmart toe-in alignment tool. So there's 2 of these. This is also one of the main reasons why I really like these guys, is because they have enough forward thought to say, hey, we should provide something like this so they can adjust everything in their garage. I appreciate that. You guys know that, we like to be prepared, self-reliant. We have a preparedness focus in everything that we do on this page. And this to me just gives me an added edge from all the other kits on the market, because it'll allow me to do it myself and not have to take it in, okay? So this is huge. Steersmart, this is, you guys, I believe, are the first ones doing it. I've seen some other companies copy this toe tool. Essentially, well, you'll see how I put it together when we go there. And then next on the list here is the track bar for the front, suspension track bar for the rear. We have a tie rod on this side. I mean, look at the size of this thing. Nice weight to it, big links, adjustability to dial everything and where you want it. There is a drag link also for adjustability. The drag link is what you'll have to adjust when you see, your steering wheel kind of turn. You guys who are even avid off-roaders and use these things off-road, you'll even see that maybe you went too hard on the rocks or it got pinched or something, and you're gonna have to adjust that. Well, this will do all of that too. There is something in here that is a sector shaft brace and steering reinforcement. And you know what? We're gonna see how we get through this video. What I may do is do a separate video on this alone, because a lot of times in my experience, when I had my JK, there was an issue with my JK that was remedied just with this alone. And it's the same, concept. It's a sector shaft brace, goes in, attaches to the frame, and gives you this added bracket of strength onto it, and it eliminated all the problems I was having on my JK. I almost feel like I didn't need anything else, although I went back and added it just as a a precautionary, and it's good to upgrade everything if you're going to be wheeling them hard or off-roading, okay? So this one, let's see how the video goes. This may get its own video because I really like this product as a whole when it comes to Wranglers and JTs. My JT has one too, like I said. And without further delay, I think we can get started. Yeah? Cool. Let's get started.
All right, loosened all the ends here. This is the tie rod right here on the bottom. This is the drag link here on the top. This is the track bar. And all of that will come out. Also the steering stabilizer, the little shock there on the bottom, that will come out too, because we're gonna change the position of that to a higher position so it doesn't get hit. All right, so we have the drag link here. I already loosened the nut off the top, you can see there. And I have the tool to separate it. I'm gonna stick this in here and separate the pitman arm from the drag link. So I'm trying to get a good angle of it here for you. Very easy to do. You just gotta pick up the tool from your local parts store. It's kind of out of focus, let me see here. There we go. Let's do it. Lighting is kind of funky, but let's see if I can get this off. So mark it. I can drill that.
I like to use anti-seize. You don't have to, but if you're going to see a lot of salt or grime, I would recommend it just so you maintain the adjustability of everything that you're doing.
Boom, 60.5, okay. And we'll get back on there, right there, hold it. There we go. And 61.5. So this one needs to be a little smaller than this one, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is the tie right in on this side, because in order to torque it down, I need to be able to get in here and swing without it hitting here on the drag link. So let's do the tie rod first.
Okay.
Okay, put them in there like that, see that? Like that.
Oh.
Washer.
How come you use a washer than that?
Well, it just depends on the way it's designed. This one is designed to have that. And the hard part about this one is that we have to tighten it so it stops moving. That's how come we put the tie rod in first, because we wouldn't be able to do this. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Next, what I'm going to do is use the original length as a point of reference. I'll shoot another video showing you how to adjust and align everything after this video.
41 3/4. Okay, there we go. Right there. Just want to make sure that this doesn't get pinched. So we're gonna adjust this when it's already on the vehicle, but just as a kind of eyeball, the current track bar. Mike, you come hold it over here. Right there. Hold it right there. So current is right around 33 3/4. Let's make it a little shorter. I would like to note that as I finish this project today, there is one tool that I did have to go out of my way to get, or special order for those of you guys who don't have this in your garage. It's a 42 millimeter socket because I need this to remove the sector shaft nut that is on it, and it is a 42 size. So it's not something that I would typically have in my toolbox, but since I do have Jeeps and I've already done this before, and even like on my cousins, I've helped them out on this too. I have that, so you guys are gonna need this. Everything else is normal hand tools. Apologize about my nasally voice. It's been super windy here and it's just like jacking up my allergies. Apologize for that, but let's get started. Now I gotta remove these 4 bolts, 2 inside, 2 outside, taking note as to the lengths of each. So I'm gonna lay them out here so I know exactly the same size that I need to put back in. There, okay. So it's important to know there's a couple of different options, being that this is a EcoDiesel Wrangler Rubicon. All of the bolts that I took out are the same length. So you need to reuse everything that is the same length in order to get this done. Here is the brace. It will go in like so, right there. We'll hold it in place with the new track bar. There. Okay, got the 2 washers on here. Let's see. You can actually see, if you press up on the box when it lines up. There we go. Oh, there's that one. So I thought I could get away with it, but probably a good idea to follow directions. All right, they're all hand tightened. Now I'm gonna go and torque them down. Okay, one more time. Okay, so here is the sector shaft on your vehicle right here. What I'm gonna do is install the new nut, the sector shaft nut provided by the Steersmarts. You can see inside of it, I've already put red Loctite. But the reason I'm showing you like this is because I have to install these 2 washers first and then that nut, and it's a little too difficult to record at the same time. So let me get this on and then I'll bring you guys back for the last part of the completion. Okay, so there it is. I torqued it down to 177 foot-pounds of torque, and next I have the bearing that you can see here that's going to get installed. It's got 2 screws that go on each end, and it provides that bearing support for the sector shaft. So I'm going to put that in. Okay, all done. Everything's torqued down. You can see everything is seated the way it's supposed to be. So I did have an issue where the bearing wasn't lining up with these screws on each side. So I had to stick a pry bar in here and just pull forward just ever so much to get this in, tighten it down. And a simple fix, but it kind of caught me off guard as I was going through it. But just finished the complete install. All right, so the Jeep is dialed. Bunch of stuff coming. I have new bumpers coming for the Gladiator, but I'm gonna wait to roll that out on a separate video. I've got some new sponsors for the channel, so we're gonna have some fun with that. I got 2 winches on the way, another sponsor. Obviously, gotta go with Warren, so shout out to you guys for doing that. I'm also going to wrap the Gladiator this year for 2022. So stay tuned, a lot of really fun stuff coming for the Gladiator. I'm also gonna move the Genrex stuff over to the EcoDiesel, and then we'll continue on with that, guys. Again, like, subscribe, tell your friends. I appreciate you guys. Catch you on the next one.